better part of 30 years, I worked in the aerospace and defense industry. Had a secret clearance twice during my career. Some of the technology that I saw or participated in the creation of tends to play a role in some of the things that are used to control the weather. The very distribution process is being employed in the aerosol campaign, manipulating the weather, crops, taking over the food production or controlling the food production, the military applications. The process evolved when they realized in the 1800s that you can put things into the environment that will influence the uptake of moisture and where it drops out of the atmosphere again.
Drought has not just primed the landscape to burn, it's cut off water sources needed to fight the fires.
April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Could you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with that.
In a very, very bad state. Others were just totally bewildered, I would say. But nobody in their own imagination would have imagined they were going straight to die.
Deliberate deception and secrecy was key to the SS killing machine. The Nazis couldn't afford panic or the threat of an uprising amongst the new arrivals. So beautifully landscaped gardens were planted to reassure the prisoners as they were led from the trains to the gas chambers. The crematoria themselves were hidden from the inmates within a wall of birch trees.
Many of them were sitting in the woods. You know, there were lots of woods there. They were just sitting around, waiting to go into the gas chambers, because they had no idea. People didn't know. They thought they were told by loudspeakers they were going to have showers.
So we didn't believe what they were saying. Whoever heard of gassing people and burning them? Whoever would dream of it? A cultured people, the Germans, musicians, authors. It's incredible. I mean, nobody can do that.
And I still didn't believe that they were killing people. I still didn't believe that they were gassing people because I believed my wife and child was alive.
How does our government get away with all this? We're a democracy, after all, right? That's an incredibly naive notion. There's nothing democratic about our government and the way they behave. In fact, a recent study took data from nearly 2,000 public opinion surveys. This data was compared with what people wanted and with what the government actually did. What the study found was distressing, to say the least. The opinions of the bottom 90+% of income earners in America has essentially no impact at all. Zero. So when it feels like your vote doesn't matter, that's only because it doesn't matter. It's never mattered, for a very long time at least, hasn't mattered. The system is rigged from bottom to top. You don't have paperless voting machines in order to ensure accurate results, so that you can manipulate the system. And this dog and pony show about Democratic and the Democrats, the Republicans, this is absolutely two sides to the same coin. The entire system is bought, sold, and paid for. And you see the silvery white skies, which we see almost every morning in Northern California, the The undefined, hazy, dirty clouds, skies full of sprayed aerosols is what we're looking at. These are aerosol clouds. And remember, clouds should be white, the sky should be blue. It's what it used to be. Find some old pictures and take a look. And remember that the express goal of climate engineering is to blot out the sun, to fill the atmosphere with these light-scattering particles, to block some of the incoming thermal radiation. Cataclysmic effects, but those in power don't seem to care. So, again, a mountain of toxic metals falling on all of us. Medical statistics are showing exactly what we would expect to see from this. All the human diseases that are related to these metals are going absolutely off the charts. As mentioned before, autism in the last 40 years has gone from 1 in 5,000 to 1 in 47. That's over a 10,000% increase in autism. And now we have one of the most recognized institutions for research on the planet, MIT, stating that in less than 10 years, we will see 1 in 2 children with autism. Alzheimer's, 1 in 3 in the continental U.S. dies with Alzheimer's and/or dementia. Not dies from it, but dies with it. All of us are becoming dumber by the day. It's not a joke. It's not a metaphor. It's a fact. Our cognitive ability is being damaged by the toxic particulates we are all inhaling.
And that's the urgent and growing threat of a changing climate. Our understanding of climate change advances each day. Human activity is disrupting the climate in many ways faster than we previously thought.
Aerosol sprays.
The science is stark.
Destroying the ozone layer.
It proves that this once distant threat is now very much in the present. In fact, the Arctic is the leading edge of climate change, our leading indicator of what the entire planet faces.
The aerosol program is destroying the ozone layer.
Arctic temperatures are rising about twice as fast as the global average.
And the
Over the
sprays
past 60
destroy
years,
the
Alaska
ozone
has
layer.
warmed about twice as fast as the rest of the United States.
What about the spraying program?
Last year was Alaska's warmest year on record, just as it was for the rest of the world.
What about the
And the
weather
impacts here
modification
are very
program?
real.
President Obama.
Thawing permafrost destabilizes the earth on which 100,000 Alaskans live, threatening homes,
Why don't we switch
damaging
to alternative
transportation,
energy?
infrastructure, which could cost billions of dollars to fix.
Solar energy. What happened to
Warmer,
solar
more
energy?
acidic oceans and rivers, and the migration of entire species threatens the livelihoods of indigenous peoples and local economies dependent on fishing and tourism.
And petroleum.
Reduced sea levels leaves villages unprotected from floods and storm surges. Do nothing to keep glaciers from melting faster and oceans from rising faster and forests from burning faster and storms from growing stronger. We will condemn our children to a planet beyond their capacity to repair. Submerged countries, abandoned cities, fields no longer growing.
So we need to take this into account. There's a lot of things going on, and we need to take responsibility for that, be aware of it, and try to help be part of the change. What does geoengineering have to do with the fires around the globe? Geoengineering, again, is climate engineering, the deliberate attempt of governments around the globe to engineer the climate. They're creating climate chaos. They're very successful at that. They're contaminating the entire planet. They're successful at that as well. But as far as doing anything beneficial for the populations, that's absolutely not the case. And in fact, I would argue that's not their intent at all. It's about power and control, not the common good. Geoengineering contributes to fires in the following ways. Saturating the atmosphere with sprayed particulates creates drought and deluge in certain places, but protracted drought is a common occurrence, an intentionally caused occurrence in many locations. Blistering UV radiation. This is an absolute fact. The UV radiation is off the scale. Take a look at some of the trees around town that are dropping their leaves right now. It's not just drought. These are landscape trees in many cases. Bioavailable metals. There's a mountain of toxic metals, again, falling from the sky. We know this In Northern California alone, Shasta, Siskiyou counties, we've done 70 plus lab tests. It's an absolutely indisputable fact that, again, a tremendous amount of toxic metal is falling on us. It's changing soil pHs, it's contaminating waters. It's directly related to these programs. We know it's not coming from China. I want to stress that.